Give us 60 minutes and we'll give you Nelson Radio every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on KTLK AM 1150. With 29 years in the mortgage business and an array of top-level guests visiting the show, Nelson is in a unique position to bring you cutting-edge information on real estate, business, finance, and law. If you have any questions for Nelson or any of his guests, give him a call at 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Or check him out online at nelsonradio.com.
Nelson Radio.
Welcome back to Nelson Radio, and we were just taking a look at the reality of things that get in the way, and by golly, I think I want to go a little more upbeat in terms of what we have to look at here, and part of that is taking a look at as we move in through this marketplace. There's some challenges out there, and what we want to do is prep these home buyers of ways to not make the simple mistakes that are going to contribute to offers not getting accepted. I think, Beth, don't you find that throughout the Coldwell Banker environment of people that are frustrated?
You know, it's interesting. In this marketplace, there are so many multiple offers that you're inevitably finding buyers who are completely frustrated, and the deals are being made mostly with people who have all cash, or they have no contingencies. They're doing all kinds of things that you, as an agent who have a fiduciary responsibility.
I love that.
Towards their buyer. You don't want to advise them to make foolish mistakes and to do things that are going to be taking chances, but on the same hand, they really want that property. You've got to be aggressive.
So let's bring in Alexander Villa from Century 21 Masters. Let me tell you that this segment is brought to you by Beth Chauffeured. Listeners, as you have questions that come up, call us direct, 888-888-2136. That's 888-888-2136. Alexander Villa, you're out of the Glendora area, Claremont specialist, and you see buyer mistakes. You see people that are just going down rabbit trails, and you've got to coach them, don't you?
Yes, Nelson, thank you. Good to see you. There's a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of urban myths, as was brought up, this perception that most of the deals are being done all cash. Out in the Glendora, Claremont area, we're looking at about a quarter to a third are being done cash. And although that's not encouraging for first-time or young home buyers or people that are just regular people using a traditional loan, it's not completely shutting them out of the game.
So 70% of the transactions, looking on the upside, then are just traditional loan-to-equity transactions and going through the financing chain.
Right. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy. We've got the buyers have to be fully approved, and not 95%, not I need one more thing to send in and then I can get the cross-qualify. Fully approved if they want to be in the game. Another thing is overbidding. Yes, it is common. It's frequent, but a lot of that is being set up from an intentional pricing point. It's not that every property, every time is being overbid on regardless of the price or the value relative to its listing price.
Do you have sellers that are starting out with a strike price under market? Or do you have the more common message? My perception, Beth, is that people are saying, hey, if somebody wants to pay me $800,000 for the $700,000 home, of course I'll sell.
Right.
What are people doing out in Claremont?
Well, the market has been moving so fast the last 8 months. In fact, in the Glendora, Claremont area, the last 8 months was faster than any 8-month period during the 05-06 run-ups, to give you some idea. What's happening out there is that a price may be the effective price, but by the time a month or two rolls around or escrow is ready to close, the next property, the same property to go on the market, may actually be able to pull in another 5% more, 3% more. So it's not that they intentionally underpriced it. It's just the market kind of ran past it. By the time we're accepting offers, about to close the deal, going to escrow, it may tolerate a $5,000 or $10,000 overbid on a property.
Let me change gears here, and let me ask you the question on in terms of changes that people make going into transactions. And I hear a lot of storylines. I see these in the mortgage sector, people looking at their financial statements, and they go, oh, great, our offer is accepted. We're going to get into this new home, this new community. And then sure enough, without the right coaching, they go off to the auto dealership and say, we got to have this new car in the driveway. And of course, we have new appliances, and we want the plasma TV, and all of a sudden their financial picture changes. Do you run into that, or is that being squeezed out of the marketplace with all this pre-approval?
If we've learned anything over the last 5 to 8 years, it would moderation, I hope, would be it. I think lenders they're scrutinizing the the buyers more and counseling them more, certainly, because there are now implications for that buyer should that loan have difficulty in the future.
That's right. It's interesting. We do, and we have had to counsel people, because for years people would just, oh my God, I'm getting a house. Okay, I need a couch. I got to have a better car in the new driveway with the new house. And so, finally people have reined it in a little bit. And, my concern here is there a little bit of a false bubble happening? I don't think so, because we still have no inventory, and that's still keeping everything at bay. It's kind of interesting to see what's going on.
Buyer mistakes. We're taking a look at it. I'm with Beth Stein from Coldwell Banker, Alexander Villa, the resident expert out in Claremont from Century 21 Masters. Let me ask you, Alexander, in terms of people that change employment, do you see that mid-escrow? Oh, gosh, our offer's accepted. Now I'm going to take this new job because I need to make more money?
People are being counseled better by their lenders. Thank you very much, Nelson.
Sounds like a leading question, doesn't it?
Not to get in that situation or to hold off. I actually have somebody right now that's transferring from Boeing, but there is some common sense there. It's not. We haven't moved to this area of cut and dry with lender qualifications. If the gentleman is going into the same field in a parallel company doing the same thing, most lenders apply common sense there, as you do, Nelson.
And about down payments, I know that there's a strong influx of Asian buyers out of the Asian communities, and money oftentimes shows up. Right? All of a sudden there's the account with an average balance of $3 and it has $300,000 as a current balance. Is that something you're finding in Claremont in terms of chasing these funds down? That
I'm not running into that. I know that I counsel my clients up front from initial contact when I get them pre-qualified with you, Nelson, that they need to have that money in proper accounts, properly structured. We're not going to even begin the process until we're at a point where we could get approved moving forward from this point, not from what we're going to do in the future. And yes, and I'm glad you brought up the issue of down payment. That's another thing with the traditional buyer. The guy's just got a 10 or 20% down loan. He's going with just a full traditional loan, a full doc loan. He's not the all cash buyer. Just having another $5,000, $10,000, maybe $15,000, being able to sign off on an appraisal contingency, that could be the difference between getting the property or not getting the property. So it's certainly, there's hope for borrowers. There's hope for the average guy buying the house. He doesn't need the full cash deal to be competitive. If he's able to perhaps go that extra $5,000 or $10,000 because he has a few dollars more above his 20%, that could be the difference.
Century 21 Masters, Alexander Villa, I want to thank you for being with us. We've got 8 mistakes identified. I want to make certain if you're listening out there and you're having trouble with getting transactions through to the finish line or getting transactions accepted for that matter, we've studied that. Alexander Villa is leading the charge. We have 8 mistakes to avoid as a buyer or a borrower in your next real estate transaction. If you call us direct, we'll send that to you free. 8 mistakes to avoid as a buyer. 888-888-2136. That's 888-2136. Beth and I are coming back in just a moment with another well-coached individual, Brett Miller. Brett Miller. We'll be right back.
Licensed lender under the California Department of Corporations. NMLS 331060.
This is Nelson from Nelson Radio, and it's important that we talk about a very serious issue. We had bad lending practices that led to the mortgage meltdown, but now we've got the challenge of deplorable customer service coming out of the meltdown. Bottom line, getting a new loan can be like pulling teeth without Novocaine. I've got the solution. Academy Mortgage and my team are injecting into the industry real performance and real accountability. Here are the facts. Appraisals in less than a week. Rate guarantees that can improve if the market goes down. Purchase transactions with our market-exclusive close-on-time guarantees and refinance transactions in as little as 30 days. Who would have thunk? Guaranteed rates and guaranteed performance from your mortgage lender. Call me, Nelson, an accountable loan expert for nearly 3 decades. Direct at 888-888-2136. That's Nelson at 888-888-2136. 888-888-2136 or at strongcreditrewards.com.